Good morning. At this moment, I would almost say zero because we cannot take as fixed statements from pre-election campaign. So this phase is over now. And there is a president-elect, and we have to wait for a new administration to form the policies, and only then we can start reacting if necessary. In that sense, I believe that President-elect is not, probably using slightly different words, but the substance is the same over years. We know about the issue of imbalance in defense burden sharing. We are continuously addressing it in different fora. It has been addressed in Wales and Warsaw, where countries agreed on defense investment pledge. And we can see practical results that nations have turned the curve of defense spending for growth. So I think we are working on it, and it is justified requirement. I am not going to speculate if Vladimir Putin is a strong leader or not, but I think what is clear, and we in military have to work with facts, that his regime has broken several rules and norms of international community. So in that sense, we have to deal with Russia as with a country that is using military power to pursue its political objectives. And in that sense, the approach agreed in Warsaw, based on one hand, strong deterrence and defense, and on the other, will for constructive dialogue, is the right one. I think from the Baltic countries' point of view, their concern is justified because they are living close to Russia. They face at a daily basis effects of continuous information campaign and propaganda. But from the larger point of view, I don't believe that Russia would gain anything from testing NATO at this point, because if President Putin says that he wants to have more dialogue with the United States and even with NATO, that such an action wouldn't support that effort. Well, given the unpredictability of Russian behavior, it's difficult to talk about anything on 100%. But we are doing our best to in fact, deter them from any such an intention. And I believe that if their interest is to have a kind of dialogue with the West, then any kind of aggressive behavior wouldn't help. Um, Russia is increasing its military presence and also the capability of their forces in the region for some time already. And military buildup, including Iskander missiles to Kaliningrad, is part of it. We can take it as their deterrent effort against NATO. Uh, but at this point, I don't think there is any serious concern from escalation into a hot conflict. We intend to send these four battalion level battle groups to three Baltic countries and Poland as a sign of our collective resolve to defend the countries in case of any aggressive action. But at the same time, we believe that this measure is proportionate and sufficient to demonstrate that such a policy wouldn't be successful. Uh, we believe that there is a great deal of continuity and mutual interest on both sides of the Atlantic to continue on the same policies. Russia has increased their military capabilities significantly over the last, let's say, decade. And they are pursuing a very robust modernization program in all services. They are deploying new kinds of equipment with a much higher level of sophistication, and we can see the evidence of that. For example, in Syria, where they demonstrate the capability, where they demonstrate their projection force capability, and it is along with support to Assad regime, clear strategic message to the West about the capabilities of Russian military. We are obviously reacting on that development in many ways. First, in conceptual, doctrinal, but as well as in the structures and equipment to our troops. So we are analyzing any Russian move. We're analyzing all Russian actions and taking appropriate measures. Situation is more dangerous. It is more volatile than before. There are more factors of instability, and we have to deal with all of them simultaneously. So there is nothing like distinguishing between a threat from the east or a threat from the south, or a threat from state actors or non-state actors. We simply have to be ready to deal with all of them, and we're doing that. Well, first I have to say that the contribution Canada is bringing to the alliance is highly valued in many aspects. Contribution to operations, contribution to assurance measures, air policing, uh, and on at this last event to this enhanced forward presence. We cannot strictly say that such a support to the countries to the east would have to be deserved. They are working hard on increasing their defense spending, and all Baltic countries are coming closer to these 2%. And even Latvia has speeded up the process of reaching these 2% in a shorter time I believe that the last decision by the government was to move the target from 2020 to 2018. So they are working hard, and I believe that they deserve our support. Um, it's difficult to assess it as a military person, but as a soldier, I see it as a very responsible, mature relationship, which deserve to be recognized as such. I personally had always a very good relationship with all the Canadian military. Your chief of defense is working with a great deal of leadership and example in NATO. So in that sense, Canada is playing one of the crucial roles in the alliance. I don't believe necessarily that say standing presence of troops will be our future. I believe much more in flexibility, mobility, and capability to react at multiple levels and domains. So, in that sense, presence of larger formations on the ground is not necessarily the military capability. Thank you. Bye bye.